Good evening. My name is Felix Hoskins, and today I'll be doing a 3-minute presentation speech on the poem Tattoo by Ted Kooser. It's one of our Unit 2 readings, and when I first read the poem, I honestly thought it was just about a man with a tattoo. The more I read it, the more I realized it was much deeper than that. It really made me think about how people change over time and how things that once seemed so important don't always stay that way. I think that's something that almost everybody may be able to relate to. To briefly summarize the poem, Tattoo tells the story of an older man whose tattoo used to represent strength, confidence, and who he wanted the world to think he was. As he got older, though, the tattoo ended up fading, and now it looked more like a bruise than a symbol of toughness. Through this image, Ted Kooser shows that time changes not only our appearance, but also changes the way we see ourselves and the things we value. The main theme I took away from this poem is that time changes people, but those changes can teach us important lessons about ourselves. When I was reading it, I couldn't help but think about how everybody has something from their past that meant a lot to them at one point, whether it's a dream, a memory, or even a style that they used to have. Eventually, life changes us. I think that's what makes the poem so relatable. One literary device Kooser uses is imagery. He writes, "What once was meant to be a statement, a dripping dagger, held in the fist of a shuddering heart, is now just a bruise on a bulging old shoulder." When I read those lines, I clearly pictured the tattoo fading with age. The image made me realize that something that once looked powerful can eventually become a reminder of how much time has passed. I thought that it was kind of both sad and beautiful at the same time, because it reflects what happens to us as we all grow older. Another literary device is symbolism. The tattoo isn't just body art. It represents the man's younger identity. It symbolizes the version of himself that he wanted to appear fearless and strong. Later in the poem, Kooser describes him as strong as a stallion, fast as an honorary. That line helped me imagine the kind of person he used to be. Now, even though his appearance has changed, those memories are still part of who he is. It reminded me that while people change physically, the experiences they've lived through never completely disappear. The poem also uses contrast to compare the man's younger self with the person he has become. The bold tattoo is now faded, and the strong young man has become an older man with a different perspective on life. I think this contrast is what gives the poem so much emotion because it reminds us that nobody stays young forever. Overall, I really enjoyed reading the poem Tattoo because it made me stop and think about how quickly life changes. It reminded me that growing older isn't something to be afraid of. Instead, every stage of life teaches us something new about ourselves. I think this poem is worth reading because almost everyone can relate to thinking back to how they used to be and realizing how much they've grown. Even though it's a short poem, its message about aging, identity, and accepting change has stayed with me long after I finished reading it. Thank y'all for listening, and I hope y'all enjoyed my 3-minute speech on Tattoo by Ted Kooser.